There's an update coming in Marvel Strike Force next week. What do you need to do to prepare? It looks like there's DATAMINES for another month-long event coming, but this time no character release associated with this. So will this be better or worse than previous iterations? And now that we know the kits for Archangel and Nemesis, how good will this Death Seed team be? We're talking all about that and more in this edition of your Marvel Strike Force Weekly News Update. This week, I'm joined by my brother Run7. And if you're ready for a Run 7, tell them what to do, my friend.
Let's go smash it, MSFers.
ValleyFlyin.
Hello, Valley Maniacs. I am ValleyFlyin. Welcome back to the ValleyFlyin channel and this edition of your Marvel Strike Force Weekly News Update. We're talking a lot about everything going on in Marvel Strike Force. There's a big update coming next week. We have another month-long event, DATAMINES. This one looks to be a little better than some of the previous ones. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button for more great Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Snap, Marvel gaming content. And if you're listening to the podcast version of this, give it a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening to it on. This week, I am joined in the news desk by my brother Run7, talking all about Marvel Strike Force and everything associated with this. First time on the channel. What is up, brother Run? How are you?
I'm doing great, Valley. Thanks for having me on.
How are you enjoying Marvel Strike Force this past week or so?
I'm some ups and downs, I guess, but mostly ups. I think I'm enjoying things a lot more than most people right now with a lot of the stuff that's come out recently.
Nice. Yeah, this Thanksgiving, a little different than Thanosgiving. We're going to talk about that, how it compares to last week. But before we get on with all the Marvel Strike Force news and everything, I do have to ask you a very important question that I ask everybody, and it is the holiday season. So I have to ask you this, my brother.
Yes.
Do you think Die Hard is or is not a Christmas movie?
Santa Claus does not come down the chimney until John McClane clears the room.
Oh, yes, that's going to win you a lot of points with the entire Valley Club and myself, because I think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So many Christmas songs, so many Christmas themes. The ending title song is a Christmas song. I mean, what can not be Christmassy about that? But moving on to more MSF stuff, it looks like, Run, we have an update coming next week. We had 6 new playable characters, some character updates, some costumes, some additional hard difficulty chapters. That is good. It looks like we're going to get more farmable characters, and hopefully that brings more farmable characters. What are you looking forward to most with what you see here?
The 6 new playable characters is, I'm always excited about what new tunes are coming to the game, how they're going to be integrated into the combat system, whether we're going to be using them in war or raids or whatever, whether we can get a new arena meta to shake things up. It's always the new characters for me.
Me too. I'm kind of liking these new hard difficulty chapters. I'm looking forward to see. Hopefully we get more characters that are farmable and not just older characters that were in like the raid store, the war store added to those. But we did get a data mine earlier this week about a new team coming in this update, the Rebirth team. Now, what it says, a new character trait is coming soon. Assembling the powerful Rebirth team includes 3 new characters, so that is 3 down. We already know about Archangel. We already know about Nemesis. There's 1 more character though, but this Rebirth team, 3 new characters, reworks of 2 existing characters. So before we move on to who that 6th character is, who are your guesses for this Rebirth team if this data mine turns out to be correct? What are the 3, and who do you think is going to get reworked?
Well, I have a feeling the data mine's going to be correct. They tend to be more accurate than the blog posts. I think for the Rebirth team that we're definitely looking at Captain Britain, or not, Captain Carter.
Captain Carter.
U.S. Agent is something I'm looking forward to, and I'm thinking Protocide, which is Clinton McIntyre. He's kind of like an evil version of Captain America. They kind of dueled. He was the prototype version of Captain America. So okay. I think that might be the way to go. And then, of course, Steve Rogers and Bucky being the 2 reworks, I think.
I think those are locked in for being the 2 reworks. And I like your guesses. I like Captain Carter. I like U.S. Agent. I'm going to go a different direction for the 3rd guess, though. I'm going to go with a character that was kind of featured on Falcon and Winter Soldier, sort of. Isaiah Bradley, a.k.a. the Patriot, is who I'm kind of leaning towards if this Rebirth team comes to fruition.
Mm-hmm. There was a while back, we had a lot of talk about some Patriot popping up in the rumor mill. And so I wonder, at the time we thought it was maybe Iron Patriot or something like that. So I wonder if maybe that was something they were working on a long time ago. They're going to bring it back around for this team. Could be.
Maybe, but it would fit with some of the lore and some of those other things. Now, let's go back to this. It did say 6 new playable characters. 3, if the datamines are correct, are going to be from Rebirth. 2 are going to be from Death Seed. What is your prediction as this 6th character? Who could this be? I was thinking it's going to be someone like Magic, someone that gives a lot of reworks to an existing team, makes them a little more viable, but only 1 character that would have to build 5 for. So Scopely loves doing this while they go away for their 2-month-long break over December and January. Do you think it's something like that, or is it a character that's gonna? I don't know. What else? What else could it be? Could it be a character with a bunch of reworks?
I think it's going to be, I'm hoping it's something wild out of left field that catches everybody off guard. I'm thinking, could it be something like an Agents of Atlas character, because Captain America was part of that Agents of Atlas, which is associated with Kang the Conqueror. And I think maybe we're moving towards Kang the Conqueror. Or could they be doing something, and this is what I'm really hoping for, and I'm sure it's not, but maybe something related with the Sentinels, and it's a Sentinel character who's going to usher in some new Minions to go with our new Minion tag, right?
That would make sense with some of the disappointing news that we got a couple of weeks ago that Minions being required in that Death Scourge, but I would like that. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think this character, who do you think this character is going to be? Let me ask you a different question about this 6th character though. What game mode will this 6th character be viable in? I'm thinking a lot of the guesses are leaning towards War or Crucible. Do you think it could be another arena team, another raid team? Where do you think this team or this character will be used?
It could be arena, and they would specifically be designed to preemptively shake things up in arena for as people are unlocking 4-part horseman teams, because we're going to see with the Hulk, with Red Hulk and his awakened abilities, we're going to see a lot of people trying 4 horsemen plus Dormammu until Apocalypse comes out. So maybe it's somebody that is specifically designed to shake up that arena meta. But I'm thinking it's probably going to be a Crucible member. They're kind of pushing hard with Crucible. We've got the season that's going to be changing soon, hopefully, if they don't extend it again. And so it's probably going to be a Crucible character.
Soon as a relative term. It was soon yesterday, but it's a couple months away from now. So we'll see what happens with that. I do like that arena meta, like a filler arena character before Apocalypse, before we got this domination of Apocalypse and the Horsemen. Some kind of weird filler character would be cool, but I don't know if Scopely's that smart to preemptively get in front of some of those mirror matches that we're looking at or something like that, because people are already looking at the 4 Horsemen plus Dormammu and trying to figure out how to counter it as soon as that blog post dropped. So They're preemptively striking all that stuff before Scopely can get to that stuff.
Yeah, the community thinks ahead. Scopely does not.
Yeah, they do. But yeah, I'm leaning kind of with your guess, probably Crucible. But one of the worst things it could be is a War defense or a Crucible defense thing. And I'm hoping that's not where it could be, but it's very possible. It's the worst possible situation. All right, let's move on. You talked about the announcement of all the Archangel, Nemesis, the reworks to Red Hulk, how to counter that. Well, let's talk about the kits. We got the announcement yesterday. Archangel and Nemesis, their kits look very, very strong. The next legendary Horseman character, so obviously this is going to be a very strong character. If Morgan Le Fay, Rogue, Red Hulk are any indication, they're going to be viable, or at least Archangel, viable in every single game mode. And you already talked about that arena meta shakeup, especially with these awakened abilities for Red Hulk. What was something that stood out for you about Archangel's kit? What are you looking forward to most with this character?
How little we understand from how much we got. I mean, we got the full kit, except for we don't know the stats and we don't know the ISO bonus attack, right? And those are really critical in how this is going to play out. Now, it looks to me like both Archangel and Nemesis, Scopely is trying to push us towards a dual ISO, so that in raids we want one thing and outside of raids we want another. But I think it's going to be very critical on what the ISO bonus attack for Archangel does specifically, his speed, especially his speed in relation to Nemesis, and then his damage. Like if his damage is Nakia damage, I'm excited for him. But if his damage is Thor damage, he's pretty good. you know?
It has to be not get level damage, right? It can't be.
I would
it
hope
can't
so.
be weak damage.
The rest of his kit doesn't feel legendary. Yeah, it doesn't feel like a legendary horseman to me. It's good. It's a very good kit. He's going to make this team incredibly fast in raids, or feel fast. I mean, obviously slowing down the other team. It works the same way. Yeah. But his kit didn't like blow me out of the water the way some of these other horseman kits did. Like when I read through Red Hulk's kit, I was like, oh, this is good, this is good, this is good. And I got down to the passive and I went, whoa, you know, and I didn't really have that moment with Archangel. So I'm hoping that moment comes when we see his damage stat and it's like 95,000 or something like that. And then I'm like, okay, so his opening move is delete one toon.
Yeah, I wasn't very impressed with Rogue initially, especially after that nerf that she got. I'm like, oh, she's gonna have two moves and then nothing after that. But those two moves are so strong that it's good. So maybe there's something we're missing here. Like you said, we don't have all the base stats there. We don't have that safety, the assist, the counter chance and everything. One thing that did stand out to me is on enemy death. This is why I highlighted it. I thought this was the most important part of his kit. On enemy death, attacking the most injured enemy, 200% piercing. This could be very, very big or like a little tickle, but I'm assuming it's going to be big because this is a legendary horseman there. Also reducing the speed bar for all enemies in raids. It's going to be 25%, only 10% outside of raids. So that's going to also be effective in arena. And then more a barrier for herself based on this character's max health. That is what stood out to me. Is there any particular thing that stood out for you? I know we're missing some of the information, some of the potential that we got. Is there anything that stood out as far as his kit for Archangel?
Well, I was actually really happy that they kind of reduced his speed meter rewind outside of raids. I think that's going to do is make small adjustments when you use him in arena, but it's not going to completely dominate or obliterate. Like you can do some things to negate a 10% change in speed. You can't really do anything to negate a 25% change in speed. I also thought that the 15% crit chance alongside the 3% of the character's max health, the heal characters for 3%, that's kind of interesting because it feels like they're trying to swing us towards a raider on some of these characters when Dark Beast has the assist always, and it seems so obvious that you're going to want to make mostly strikers out of this team and then skirmisher on Dark Beast. So I really want to see how it plays out, especially when we get down to Nemesis and his kit in relation to this extra crit chance and stuff like that.
So obviously he's going to be valuable in the raids. Obviously with this full horseman team and Apocalypse valuable in arena. Any viability outside of that? Is he going to be full Death Seed and war, valuable war offense, war defense, and then same thing in Crucible? Or are they just going to be relegated to raids based on what you're seeing in this kit right now?
So in War and Crucible, of course, different roster sizes are going to apply here, obviously. That goes without saying, but some people tend to forget that. But if you're working with someone who has a full roster unlocked, I think that most of the time, at least for now, we're going to be putting these in their horseman teams rather than putting them all together as 4 plus Dormammu or something, or 4 plus Apocalypse. Maybe we'll do that. But I mean, you have 4 really good teams that you can maybe make some minor adjustments to if you want to swap out one toon here and there. But if you put all the horsemen on one team, then it's probably just going to... somebody's going to have to counter it with one of their horseman teams or triple tap it in Crucible or something like that. So I see it taking up too many resources to combine all the horsemen into one team on either War or Crucible. And I think most people will spread those out in Crucible defense, which I don't know about you, but I'm starting to see a lot more people push a harder and harder defense in Crucible and playing smarter on offense to overcome it. And that seems to be a winning strategy these days.
Yeah, I'm seeing that as well. I don't like it. I like going very light on defense and just going efficient, and looks like other people are going with defense, and I got to be a little more smart with my attacks. So yeah, it doesn't seem like it's the best to combine them all on one team, have one strong team. It's probably best to give them different teams when you're in Crucible and things like that. Let's move on to this character, Nemesis. Now, you sort of mentioned this. You weren't as impressed with the kit for Archangel. How impressed were you with this kit for Nemesis? Because I'm seeing some people on Reddit saying Nemesis should have been the Horseman. His kit looks way more impressive than Archangel. Where do you stand with this?
I think Nemesis looks really cool. I'm not that familiar with the character.
The kit or the look? When you say looks really
everything.
Cool.
Everything about Nemesis actually kind of appeals to me. When I first heard Nemesis, I was like, who's Nemesis? And got to look him up and stuff. I couldn't remember.
Ghost Rider in the Hulkbuster costume is exactly who he is.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, the Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Forget the story that they wrote right here. He's Ghost Rider.
Right. So I started looking through his kit and of course the way he looks, I think he looks cool, even though it does kind of look like they just reskinned Hulkbuster. But his kit is very interesting that he's this support character who you definitely don't want to use the healer ISO on because he doesn't actually have any active healing in his kit. It's all health steal.
Yeah.
So this is why I think that especially this character looks really good as a raider. And again, we don't know what his basic ISO response is going to be. Like if it says come back with just regular damage and nothing else, then I'm going to go raider 100%. If his ISO bonus attack is steal 5%, 7%, 10%, then it's probably make him a striker as well. But with the added crit chance and crit damage from Archangel, I'm kind of looking into him as a raider because remember, Magneto's going to clump everybody together. So even his attack that does adjacent enemies is probably going to be hitting a lot. And it's going to be in raids where you're going to be using this guy primarily. And so there's going to be a lot of people on the field. They're going to be clumped together. You're probably going to be hitting 5 characters at a time with just his his special that does adjacent damage, and of course his alt is an AoE that gets everybody. And I think that's a lot of health steal that could be happening there. If this guy's damage stat is also really large, like if he's up there with Nakia, that's a lot of health he's going to be stealing.
That is a good point about the clumping them together and this being an adjacent target attack. I didn't think about that Magneto move initially. Now,
and again, that plays into we don't know their speed. How does it play out? And then, of course, he's got the take all the effects off of Archangel and spread them to the rest of the team. Is that happening before Archangel collects all those positive effects, or is it happening after? So is this going to be a team where we want to manually play it because you need to go special then ultimate, or are we going to use that sim button that they gave us and finally get some of our frustrations out on those mutant nodes?
It works. The sim button works very well on the tech node, so hopefully it will work with this Horseman team on the mutant nodes there. I do like that striker for this health steal, but that raider brings up a good point. And you mentioned earlier that you might use different ISO 8s for raids and then outside of raids. So raider inside of raids, and then are you going back to striker based on also getting the health steal? Are you going back to striker outside of raids for this character?
I mean, if this character's basic ISO attack is duplicate of what his basic says, and it's a 5% health steal, then I think Raider's a really strong choice. But if it's 3% or less, I would probably go Raider. Did I say striker? Striker, if it's 5% or more, and if it's 3% or less, then I think Raider is kind of where he's at.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I like that. All right, so in your final opinion, so based on what you see, better or about the same as Archangel or worse than Archangel? Where are you with Nemesis and these two characters? How do you rank these two?
It's a 5-piece raid team. They're all important, and you need high damage on both of these guys for them to really do what they need to do. With Archangel needing to kill people, especially with his 700% piercing damage. Somebody was talking about that earlier. That's like, I think it was McMole pointed out, Iron Man does 700% damage, but it's regular damage. So how much is that going to do? Not to mention, is Archangel getting the offense up when that takes place? Again, that's a matter of speed and when those things are happening. So I think if you push hard in the Scourge event and get high red stars on Archangel, if you get lucky and pull some high red stars on Nemesis and you spend a little bit of money or probably a lot of money to get 5-6 stars on him or something, I think these characters are both going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be an incredibly powerful raid team. I don't think there's going to be any problems. The only thing that really I question about the team as a whole is why do they have taunt on the cloning mechanism in Dark Beast? I was expecting to see something that would give a clone some stacks of death proof or something. So, some reason why, because the mad scientist or mad chemist ability, it brings in the clone and they just get wiped out. And I'm like, what is this for? Is that basically giving the next attacker blind? Is that essentially, is that what it's doing, so that they just miss, they just hit this clone? Like, I don't know. It just seems like a wasted way to do that.
Interesting. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, they clone him and they get the taunt. I missed that the first time.
Right, and the defense up for 2 turns just isn't enough. I mean, maybe when we start seeing like a 7x6 Dark Beast, that'll really be effective. Maybe if in Doom 4 we're cloning some other Death Seed members, and that clone gets some more of the Death Seed abilities or something like that, bonuses, then maybe that's going to take place. But I don't understand why they put taunt on the clone.
Good point on that. So, I'm looking forward to seeing all the full kit on these the full information on these characters. We know their kit, but we don't know their base stats. Like you said, we don't know their safety, their counter and assist gens. That will make a difference in the recommendations for this team. But they do look fun. I can't wait to try this team out in the Rays and just smashing through the mutant section, because that's been a pain for so many players for so long. Any other thoughts on this Death Seed team before we move on to Red Hulk?
I think that covers it.
All right, let's talk about Red Hulk. He got his Awaken abilities announced. They look very good. Now, I just highlighted the bold portions, which is where I think the only changes are. So the change comes to a special here. If Apocalypse is an ally with 3 or more Horseman allies, clear revive once on adjacent targets as well, not just the primary target. So that's going to be strong. So the placement is going to matter where you place your defensive teams. Filling speed bar for 1 random adjacent Horseman ally by 10%, and filling speed bar for Apocalypse by 15%. So the placement on this is going to matter. So your team and your defensive team is going to matter now with these Awaken abilities.
I kind of feel like this kind of points out a starting point for placement. You know, you'll have Apocalypse center, Red Hulk adjacent to him, and then somebody else adjacent to Red Hulk. So who do you want to speed up 10%? Because Apocalypse is getting the 15% no matter what, and then it's going to be the other person. And you're I'm thinking, okay, let's go Apocalypse with Red Hulk and then Rogue off of his shoulders, so that Rogue can get to her special maneuver first and speed that up a little bit. And then Red Hulk will be next to her, so when she's taunting, he's getting the splash damage and stuff. But who knows? You know, the other thing is, if Apocalypse is an ally or with 3 Horseman allies, clear the revive once on the adjacent, right? So you're running a 4 Horseman team with Dormammu or Emma or whoever you think. And I think that's kind of cool. But again, everybody's going to be looking at how to counter that composition right away. And really fast, that's going to become an easy team to beat, because we'll just come up with, you know, whether it's the Red Guardian, Doom and Omega thing that we kind of came up with for Gamma and stuff like that. So I don't think that the revive once on adjacent targets is that big a deal until Apocalypse comes to the game, because then you can put Apocalypse and Red Hulk and 3 people of your choosing in there and come up with some really good theory crafting ideas and still get the value out of him. And I do like the 10% and 15% speed bar adjustments as opposed to bigger numbers, because you can do things like putting Emma to counteract those effects. So I like that.
I do as well. Now, one thing that I'm noticing here, this is all in the special. Weaver blocks a lot of this special. He doesn't get any of these clearing the revive once. He doesn't do his battlefield effects with that Weaver and their charges. Do you think Weaver's still going to be a factor in countering Red Hulk, at least until we see Apocalypse?
Oh, I think Spider Weaver is going to be a very important character for quite some time. That's a totally different mechanic than anything we've seen before. I think that's going to have a lot of long-term viability. And even if the Tangled Web duo trio doesn't maintain an arena for a long time, I think that's just going to be a powerful character that's used in a lot of places. I don't think it changes too much on that front.
Okay, I agree. I think until Apocalypse comes around, I don't know if these changes are going to be making too big of a difference in the arena meta. But the passive, at the end of this character's turn, if Apocalypse and allies gain a charge up to a maximum 5, so every time the character takes a turn, getting an extra charge, getting that battlefield effects a little earlier in the battle, and getting more focus for Apocalypse and the rest of the Horsemen. Will this make a difference in any of the battles, or is this still going to be countered by...
This is much more impactful. Getting your Red Hulk to his battlefield effect burst is super important in those arena matchups. And like I said earlier, if you can pair Apocalypse with Red Hulk and you get all the benefits, and then you have 3 more places to theory craft on that field. And then the 60% focus, which, I mean, that comes with the full team. That's kind of huge, and I almost feel like they thought of that after they realized that they made too much resistance in some of these characters. Like ever since MLF, we've been in a resistance meta, and I think they're going to start pushing up the focus on a lot of tunes to try and level that out, because it's been a lot of RNG frustration, and no one really likes that.
Especially in Crucible. I was hoping the season would end. We're going to talk about that, but yeah, Crucible's a pain with all the extra resistance that these mutants get. Let's move on. Unless there's anything else with Red Hulk, I want to talk about the MSF.GG updates. Unless there's anything that we missed with Red Hulk, I think we covered a lot though.
No, that's it.
All right. Well, we did get an update to MSF.GG yesterday, and I was going to the site as this was going on, and I was like, why is this so slow? Why is this not working? Then I got this error message that the site is down. Like, what happened to MSF.GG? Well, a few hours later, it was explained. There was an update going on, and it took place earlier yesterday. It's supposed to come up with faster load times to MarvelStrikeForce.com, and received a few more updates, updated navigation bar, claiming web milestones, roster sync, free daily claims, and it wasn't running very slow for me previously. How has this been for you? This slow, this site, has the speed been increased with these changes to MSF.GG from yesterday?
So I didn't notice a thing other than one time I got a notification saying I was being redirected. And then I kind of read into it and figured out what was going on. My wife noticed. She came to me and she's like, why am I getting this notification? Why is it forcing me to go through MSF.GG? And I just said, don't worry about it. It's an improvement. Just go to MSF.GG. It works faster. I bought a new phone and I started going through MSF.GG ever since they kind of got everything switched over to there. That's been working great. I've been very happy with it because we all know what a pain the web store and the web milestones has been for so long. So I'm glad that they're constantly improving, and I'm glad they're shifting everybody over there. I hope they just do away with the MarvelStrikeForce.com stuff and just stick with MSF.GG. That's a much, much better platform to be running it on.
Yeah, I think it worked. Everybody that I've heard that had a slow site before this update is running very fast now. For me, I don't know. I guess every time I went to Chrome on my stuff, it loaded pretty fast, except for yesterday. Yesterday just wasn't loading. So I guess this is a good improvement there. And I like that they added that roster sync. We also just finished with a cyber turkey hunt. Now, I did want to ask you, Thanosgiving, one of the worst events we've ever had in MSF history. How does this cyber turkey event from this year compare to Thanosgiving last year?
It affects me the exact same that Thanosgiving affected me, which is not at all. I just don't spend on it.
All these offers for Thanksgiving?
Not at all.
None of them. All right.
Not at all. People were crying about the one turkey and that $5 Gambit offer that went missing. And I'm just, I don't care. I don't care at all. It's an offer. It's a convoluted offer. They're not fooling anybody. I don't understand. I don't know any spenders that look at this and go, I don't want to play a spending game. Like, I don't want to play games with how I spend my money to get stuff. Just show me what is there and let me spend my money on it. So this is just, it's a bunch of nonsense. I don't sweat over it at all.
All right. But was this worse than Thanosgiving? Because Thanosgiving, they had a bunch of offers for orbs that you could purchase. You didn't know what was in them. By the time we got these orbs, they were trash. I heard you still have like massive amount of unopened orbs from last year that you're just like, these aren't worth the time of opening these all. This year, we at least got some free stuff, right? It's not all the good stuff that we got, but we got a few milestones here, some gold, some stuff. So some free stuff that we didn't have to go too crazy for, but
so in the plus and minus columns, it kind of sucks that as a free-to-play player, because I've switched over to free-to-play now, not because of anything Scopely did, but just because I didn't want to spend any more money. I'm trying to save my money. They put a lot of kind of some juicy shards right there at the top, right where my free-to-play milestone ends. It's right there in front of me, and I'm like, dang it, why do you got to do that? Why do you got to dangle it right there? Couldn't they have moved that down to like 7 or 8 where I don't see it on the screen anymore? Right? Because I want, I could use a few Wong shards. I want some 99 shards. My fire chicken's kind of low on in the shards there too. So I want that stuff. But I'm not gonna get it. So I didn't like that. However, I do appreciate that they simplified this. Like there's no like weird numbers, in the tens and hundreds of thousands of point scoring system, stuff like that. It's really kind of
with a 0% chance of getting something good.
It's not a blind orb opening like in Thanosgiving. Everybody was buying that stuff not knowing what they're gonna get. We know what we're gonna get if we want to spend our money for it. It's all right there. So at least they made it clear and transparent. But I don't know, I wish it was a little less transparent, so I just didn't see those next couple of milestones, because I don't want to do it.
One game I'm playing that I enjoy, and I think the community really enjoys, the community of that game that is playing that, Marvel Snap. They did nothing for Thanksgiving. They did nothing for Black Friday. 0 complaints. We got some stuff down here for free, and there's a lot of complaints because all this other stuff that we didn't get. So I think that's kind of funny, but
I think people focus
better
on
than last year, in my opinion.
Yeah, people are focusing on the fact that Scopely's trying to make money during the holidays, which, oh my gosh, so does every business in America. So I can't really blame them for trying to put out an offer and trying to collect money, trying to put out all these holiday offers to cash in on the season or whatever. That's just how it works. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't know. I thought they could have been a little more generous. I mean, it is Thanksgiving, and
they could have. But there's so many things that they do wrong. I don't think this is one of them. This is not a great event. This is just a trashy event. This is kind of ignoring event. Not something to get angry about and complain about, because they do so much that we got to complain about.
I was hoping they would screw up on a turkey offer and have to give us all like 7 more turkeys so I could get a couple more of those milestones.
They did screw up on a turkey offer.
They did, but I don't think they're going to give us the turkey.
We're gonna get nothing. No, they're not. The Gambit offer. Now in the store there was this Gambit offer. You could purchase this 2 times, so not just 1 turkey run. You could get 2 turkeys.
Oh yeah, there goes our Thanksgiving leftovers.
Add 100 Gambit shards for $10 and 2 turkeys. That'll get you some Echo shards as well. So this would have been a great offer, but unfortunately, the offer that included Gambit shards went live in the store for approximately 1 hour. The offer was not intended to go live on that date, but rather be reworked and delayed until December. What the heck is this crap? It had turkeys in it. It had cyber turkeys in it. How is this reworked and delayed? What is that crap? The offer will return to the same price, number of Gambit shards for the first couple weeks. To the offer in that the items in that offer is something to change. Apologize for this confusion and appreciate the players that inquired about this. How much lies is in this?
Okay, there's kind of a lot to unpack here, really.
This reworked and delayed until December. What is that? There's no turkeys. These turkeys do nothing.
Who knows? Yeah, I mean, for this to be like an idea they were throwing around and make it all the way to the community on accident, right? It's kind of weird, but I think so. An offer goes out that's erroneous, that they don't want, whether it's a major screw up or just something a little off. Like this isn't a terribly game breaking offer or anything. No. They should have just left it up there, honestly. But what happens is these offers go out by mistake. And unfortunately, as a mobile gamer always says, why don't they proofread these offers? But they don't. but this makes it out there and somebody's got to pull it. And then a different group at Scopely has to decide how they deal with the mistake. I think it's a terrible system rather than just proofreading their offers before they go out. But I think that's kind of how it happens, because every time there's a mistaken offer, it gets yanked after just a couple hours. Everybody screams about it. If the offer's really huge, game breaking, then they're like, oh, we got to roll back servers and all that nonsense. You know, we've been through this every year, at least twice. So just leave it up. Yeah, this offer should have stayed up for sure.
Who cares how
this
bad
absolutely
it is?
should have stayed up. And now, how do they fix this, right? If they bring this offer back, it's too late to get the turkey. That's what everybody cares about. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just a $5 for 50 shard offer, which is one of the good ones. It's a good offer for sure. But like you said, you're getting some echo shards out of this too, if you bought, but not the people who buy it late. So how do they fix that? I don't know.
I don't know either. They screw up so much. You would think they would learn it this time. You know, all these offers that they did. When we go back to Goldgate, how long did that gold last in your inbox? For me, not that long. These the previous one, the Catalyst, I still have a lot of. Oh, actually, the first Catalyst that happened this year, that ran out within like 2 weeks. The other Catalyst not really changed too much because I haven't even opened all those. So why don't they just leave these offers? I don't understand that. None of these are game breaking. They're
something that they need to take place at a higher level at Scopely, come up with a discussion, and just, well, first off, they just need to review the offers before they come out. But with somebody who knows what they're doing, just look at them. For crying out loud, why don't they just let you guys in the envoys glance at it 24 hours in advance, and you guys could point it out to them in seconds and be like, hey, you know, I know they don't pay you to do that. I know they don't pay you to do that, but still.
What a novel thought.
Heaven forbid they use a free resource they've got available to them, you know?
Let's use the paid one. That sucks. Let's use a paid resource that sucks. It doesn't do their job properly.
Make everybody angry for it. No, it's but hey, this is the company that we've been dealing with for years. They haven't seemed to change on this. I don't know if change is ever going to come. I think this is the system that's in place.
No, we just got to enjoy what we can and hopefully laugh at the know.
I don't know. They're getting better at writing their blog posts and lying to us about how they want it to be more competitive and equal and all this stuff. And then they have stuff like this that they can't even fix.
No, they can't. You know what else they can't fix either, Run? There's calendars. How many months in a row has a calendar been late or something going on with a calendar, and then they had to extend it? This is like the third month going on, right? If I'm remembering correctly, third month in a row. Now, if we look at the November calendar, if we go into my game right now, the November calendar, it worked properly for me. I got the 250 cores, but not for everybody. Yep. People in Australia, in the early parts of Asia, they got this. They got it reset. They didn't get those 250 cores. Why don't they just start these on time? It's like the third or fourth month in a row run.
I don't understand it either. This seems like a simple on-off switch mechanic for them to do. And if it happens once a month, could you not just put some sort of like a Google reminder on somebody's desk and have them manually go set this off when it's supposed to start for real? Like, is that too much to ask for? Because their automated system is getting it wrong, obviously. And especially, don't we have collect power cores going on right now? And there's like 250 in the November. So it was important this time around. A lot of people needed those 250 cores.
Hey, and December started on time for me, but
mine worked fine. And I see there's some messaging, I believe, that they said that they're gonna fix this or fix it. Well, and how often? I mean, we have this conversation repeatedly. It's like they say we'll compensate and we'll make it right. How much would it cost them to do it right in the first place, rather than pay somebody to go back and figure it out individually for all the people that got screwed up, all the different time zones that got messed up?
They don't think that far in advance, Run. I mean, you should know they're very short-sighted with their thinking. Like, all right, let's do this now. Let's put a little Band-Aid on it. The same problem's going to come up later, but let's put this Band-Aid on it instead of fixing it right.
I try not to get worked up over these things. I try to understand this is just how it is. It's the game we play. If anything, it's something for us to talk about, right? That's what it is. It's something for us to talk about. When nothing goes wrong, things get a little bit boring in MSF, so it gives us something to talk about. But I try not to get too worked up over it. I tell people, you don't need to quit the game over this stuff. This is just something you got to learn to live with, because it's how it is.
Just laugh at them. Just laugh at them. They suck. They're not playing 4D chess. They're not trying to manipulate. Well, sometimes they are, but most of the time they're not not trying to manipulate you. They just keep screwing up, and they don't know how to fix it.
Reddit will scream loud enough to get their attention, and they'll compensate us something. You know, I kind of miss Fox Next compensating us so much every time there was a screw up. But it really feels like ever since, you know, Fox Next, I don't think really paid attention to the currency, to the economies so much. And now with Scopely and Boundless, like they're really paying attention to the economy. And I don't feel like the compensations mean anything at all. They're just like, oh yeah, we'll just take it out of next month's event and give it to them early. You know, it's nothing.
All those power cores you got for free last month. Hey, let's go power core spending event after power core spending event after power core spending event, because that wasn't supposed to be there in the economy. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we got an event going on right now. The Battle Scars Milestone. This has some no blitzing, thank goodness. But you mentioned those power chords that you need from the calendar. Luckily, we got some power chords that we're getting on the web store now, so that's good. But we also have some war attacks that you have to do. Now, in this blog post, I believe it says with war dogs, but if we look at what it says in the actual web milestone, it looks that we have to attack with Wakandan. So it gives us 7 characters instead of 5. This doesn't seem as grindy for me. It looks like I'm going to get these milestones. I'm not going to have to spend power chords to refresh a store to do 14 war attacks. I could do it with 12. I could do it with 13 if I want, if I don't have all those Wakandans. And those power cores, if you were hoarding all your mail, not that bad. And I think the big change here is not getting campaign energy, using the event campaign energy from the Nakia event. What do you think of this total Battle Scars in its entirety with the powerful paws and the roar of Wakanda? What do you think of this event and how bad it could have been and how it is right now?
Kind of feels like any of the other recent events they've put out. I'm neither excited for it nor have any problems with it. That kind of stealth change from War Dogs to Wakandans, that's a good thing. I wish they would have kind of sent, I don't know, in-game message or something, because I bet there's some people that still have M'Baku sitting on the bench when they could be gaining some extra points for him and everything. I'll probably save up my war attacks and push for 14. I kind of like doing war attacks when I'm not streaming. I like to do the war attacks and stuff. It's kind of fun to practice and challenge, because I don't take war too seriously. Neither does my alliance. So
you don't need to, though. You don't need to. If you want to do that for fun, do that. But if you do 13 attacks and use all 7 Wakandans in those attacks, that's more than enough points for all these milestones. Yeah,
so there you go. I like to push for the max on the things that I enjoy more. So like the war attacks is what I'll push for. That way I can, lay off. Or if I just get distracted in real life and don't have the time and miss a couple on the back end, I won't worry about it so much. So I like when they give us a little bit of breathing room and we don't have to max everything out to get there.
I do as well. All right. In addition to this, we also have the big thing. We mentioned this briefly. The requirements for Death Scourge, the minion requirements on nodes 1 and 2. And if we look at this chart here, the Bionic Avengers Wakandans on nodes 5 and 10, highlighted in orange. Also, the minions highlighted in nodes 1 and 2 in orange. So it looks like this was thought of. This was the most scummiest way they could have done this. Especially the first 2 nodes would require minion characters. There's also minion scourges. So I don't know if they can go back on this. How do you think they can make this a little less scummy, a little less trashy, and a little less feeling bad for the community? That I don't think they started playing Marvel Strike Force to play with minions. They started playing it to play with our favorite Avengers or characters they see in the MCU or on Disney Plus, not with no-name minion characters. So what can be done at this point? Because I don't think they could go back on the minions. What can they do to make this a little less scummy and make this event not as trash?
Don't you understand? This is Scopely reacting to what we said. We said, we don't want to be forced to build these cookie cutter teams. We don't want the path to apocalypse where we have to build these specific teams. So they said, okay, we'll give you a pool of 32 characters to build from. Take your pick.
Oh, my bad. It's our fault.
That's right. Fault. Oh, you know what? I wish I was recording when I read this blog post, because I was scrolling through the blog and going, oh, this is cool. I like what they're doing. I like how they phrase this. And then I get there and I see nodes 1 and 2 highlighted, and Valley, I laughed for 10 minutes straight. I thought it was absolutely hilarious, knowing how much the community is absolutely going to lose their mind over this. I view this as a challenge that we have to overcome. Because remember, we're all in this one together. We're all working, against the same kind of leaderboard to get there. We're all pitted with the same pretty much resources and everything. I'm sure you got spenders and you got free to play, but we all have to get over this challenge together. I mean, unless you're Zubin and you have like your lowest minion is still 150k or something like that. Most of us don't even have any minions in orange gear. So we're all kind of building from the same pool, and we all get to theorycraft and come up with what is the best way to get us through the starting gate of this Scourge. What's the most efficient way?
Do we still have those APKs, the blue stack APKs, that we don't have to play the Scourge event?
I mean, I get it. I don't want to have to build a character that doesn't actually exist in the Marvel universe. I want to build characters that I'm familiar with, characters that are really interesting and neat. That's why I'm hoping they give us Sentinel minions or new minions that are in the Marvel universe but can take the minion tag. That would make me feel a lot better if they did something like that, especially if the Sentinels came in and they had extra oomph against mutants. That would be pretty cool too, I think. But the other thing is, and I heard from some different people that there's some content creators who said, hey, build up your characters to get through nodes 1 and 2 and at a high difficulty and just unlock the legendary, and then you can come back using the legendary. And they were saving some resources doing this, and people are telling me that this might be a direct response to that, so that we can no longer just kind of inch our way in at a high difficulty and save resources. That this is what happens when we get smart with Scopely. They come back and stick us with some garbage like this.
Yeah, there's a reason they're not on nodes 8 and 9. They're on nodes 1 and 2.
That's right.
So if you want to even do this event, you got to build up these trashy, worthless minions. And
come on, I got a 7 red hand sentry I've been waiting to dust off.
I got a 7 red 8 monstrosity
there you
that I
go.
do not want to build. I got a hand sentry here that a 6-star that I don't want to build. The Hydra armored guard, aim researcher, aim infector. I got a lot of great red star pulls on my aim characters. I don't want to build them though, Scopely, because these guys, I don't want them. Anyway, not good. But yeah, if they keep these requirements, they don't change anything, they don't add like the summons of Kingpin or the summons of Ultron to this requirement, what minions are you leaning towards building up right now?
Okay,
or are you just waiting to see what happens next
obviously,
week?
let's throw out the industry standard disclaimer. Don't build anything until we know what's in the nodes, until we know how it plays out. Let the content creators waste their time and money going through it. The thing lasts like 10 days or something in the first place. So save your resources up so you can see what works best. Then build that if you want to be efficient. If you want to have fun, build your favorites.
Not a recommendation.
Build your favorites if you want to have fun. If I had to pick 5 right now, I would probably lean into the shield minions. Plus, I would take Merc Lieutenant and Merc Riot Guard because I already have those built up. I was a big fan of the Taskmaster mercenary team, so I built them way up, and I kind of like those tunes. Otherwise, Ravagers are a pretty good pick. They were the most recent reworks. But I think that the Scourge points are going to push you towards those shield minions. And talking about the Scourge modifiers, what if nodes 1 and 2 have no minions in them except for the minions you're bringing in, obviously, and nodes 3 through 10 have no minions in them at all? And so when you go in, Scopely's basically giving your team the bonus, right? Your team gets that benefit, and almost no other minions appear through the rest of the Scourge, which doesn't debilitate the rest of your different teams. What if that's the caveat? They're trying to throw us a bone or something like that. So I'm not sure.
I think that's one way they can make it better. I definitely don't think that's their original thoughts, though, to make it that easy for us. But that would be a way that they can rework it since this blog post, if they want to keep all those minion requirements and do all that stuff. But,
those modifiers are they're trying to bring down the difficulty for the minion part and increase the difficulty for the rest. So it kind of levels it out. So you're not having to build your minion team as big as the rest of your roster. And I hope they really push it in that direction so that we find, hey, gear tier 12, like 2 teams of 5 at gear tier 12 gets you through nodes 1 and 2. And then people are like, oh, okay, that's not that big a deal. And another thing is like,
yeah, and another thing that you mentioned earlier is we're competing in the leaderboards against each other, right? So I don't want to build my minions. You don't want to build your minions. No, none of the community wants to build your minions. So maybe this would be like a difficulty 6 run that everybody does, and we don't have to build minions.
Right. Who knows? we just don't know, and that's why we say don't build anything yet. There could be the strategy of building up 30 minions to gear tier 12, which is going to take you like 60 million gold or something like that, rather than build one team up to gear tier 15, which costs about the same. I think it's 50 million. So what do you want to do? Do you want to throw wave after wave of your minions at it and just crash through the thing? Or do you want to build a hyper efficient team? Do you already have Ravagers in your roster? And there's 3 of there's 3 of your 5 ready to go. Maybe you built Ravagers and you have the Merc Lieutenant and Merc Riot Guard because you were a big fan of the mercenary team like I was. Maybe you already have something to go. So everybody's going to be different. I think there's a lot of angles, but the biggest thing to do is just wait and see what the content creators do. Wait to see how we dip our toes into this and where it goes.
Yeah, it's like Remnick says. We'll do all the work so you don't have to.
Yeah.
All right. He was found run 7. I was looking for him for so long, for weeks after weeks after weeks. We finally found Mr. Negative. He was on the web this entire time, going to the web this entire time. There is no event for him because he's a character like the Hulk, like Wolverine, that they're just giving away for free. What did you think of this when you saw this announced in this blog post? Starting November 28th, starting to get free shards for Mr. Negative every single day, 10 on the first day, 5 every subsequent day until you get him to 7 stars. Is this what you were expecting from Mr. Negative? Is this a lot friendlier than you thought?
I should have been expecting something like this. My first thought was, did they forget to release him and have to throw him into the web store? But I think honestly, this makes a lot of sense. They're trying to draw traffic to their website. They're trying to get everybody to go over there so they use that store so they can make a bunch of money off of their offers, skipping the middleman. It's just one more thing to go over there. And it's like the new era of Wolverine. It's the character that everybody's going to have as long as you play the game and go do your diligent hunting on their website, which is frustrating in the extreme, especially for free-to-play players who we don't want to go over there and collect our milestones. We don't want to go over there and collect our shards of Mr. Negative, but we have to, and that it doesn't feel good, but at least they're giving us something worthy to go over there for. And now I have it used to be I went like every other day to go collect my milestones because they would save in the milestone rewards. And now I got to go every single day. But hey, it's 5 shards. And I think Negative looks like he's pretty good. I want to throw him together on a Crucible defense team. I've been kind of working on a hybrid. I have a 7 red Taskmaster. Again, I'm a big fan of Taskmaster. So nice. I'm going to go ahead and build this guy. I don't think a lot of people should. I don't think newer players should. I don't think the value's there for using the rest of your resources, but certainly go to the website, collect those free shards, and get your Negative on.
Yes, get your Negative on. Now, Underworld, did this effectively nerf the Underworld team? Are they still valuable? Because there's a few ways that they can nerf characters. One is actually nerfing the character's kit, making them less. The other is giving a hard counter. And the third, which is sort of a nerf, giving the character to everybody. Now that everybody has Mr. Negative, and if you've been playing for a while, you have the rest of the Underworld, are they less valuable now, or are they still some of the top war teams and Crucible teams out there?
You could make the argument that they're less valuable, but honestly, I think that sounds like whining to me. I think if you're a smart player and you know how to use Mr. Negative and you know how to place him on a good hybrid team, whether it be offense or defense, I think there's value to be had there. And I think good players will unlock him, build him, and use him. And the people who don't understand how to play the game at its highest level will complain that this is some sort of a nerf or it's not worth it or whatever. Now, again, if you're a newer player, I don't think it is worth it because by the time you get him built up to compete with other people, he's going to have fallen off with power creep. There's other priorities. We're still on the hunt for Apocalypse, but I don't know, maybe if you're not in the hunt for Apocalypse and you're free to play and you're not going to be buying some of those orbs to get the horsemen and going and catch back up, then maybe build them for fun. I don't know. I always tell people, if you're having fun playing Marvel Strike Force, then you're playing it the right way.
Yeah, we got to kind of find our own fun. The devs don't just hand it to us nowadays. We got to find it, but they're still fun to be at. And some people it's War, some people it's Crucible, some people it's other game modes. And if War is one of your game modes that you love, I don't see the harm in building up this character because they're very good in that game mode. All right. Crucible. We talked about this briefly. The season got extended. Originally, this was supposed to end after next week's Crucible. But right now it says 63 more days, so 2 more months of this mutant season. What do you think
the
was
Age
the
of
error?
X just won't end, will it?
No, it will never end. All that extra resistance and damage for our mutants and and counter Dormammu never is going to end. So what do you think was the mistake? That it was supposed to end in after next week? Or is this the mistake? That it's ending in 63 days?
Well, the mistake is that Scopely's running the show here. That's what it is. But I'm under the impression that a season lasts 10 weeks. I don't know where I got that number from, but for some reason that's rattling around in my head, that a season lasts 10 weeks.
Okay.
I think that sounds about right. I know I'm ready for Age of X to be over with. I'm hoping that I did my last Crucible matchup, this morning. I hope it's done. Because I'm tired of Age of X. I'm worried they're going to come back with Age of Apocalypse or something, and it just be a worse version of this. I want them to mix it up. I wouldn't mind them doing villain mutants, but I just don't want it being villain mutants on every node like this. It's just a little too much. I want a little more variety in each different room.
I would as well. I'm not a big fan of this season. I like it how it was before, but they got to sell Tangled Web. They had to sell Tangled Web somehow. They needed to make Unlimited better than they were because, I don't know, did they get like 3 reworks, 4 reworks since they were announced? Because they weren't hitting like they were supposed to in the beginning. So they need to sell. They're doing this. What do you think is the next team or the next system they're trying to sell when the next season comes around? Maybe after next week, maybe after 2 more months. Who knows what is the wrong and the correct version?
So we've got the Rebirth team on the horizon, and if what we speculate, and of course we're well into speculation land here, so who knows? I'm just kind of throwing some ideas out here, but that team is going to have a lot of shields on it, and I think that it's going to be a defensive shield team, like a defensive Crucible team, with Captain America and Captain Carter, and if U.S. Soldier is in there, or U.S. Agent, then I think that's going to be a Crucible defense team, which sounds miserable to me. But we hated War defense teams. I'm going to absolutely hate Crucible defense teams.
Oh, yeah.
And so if they do put that team out, I would hope that they would give us something that makes it easy to counter them. But it's going to go the opposite way. And they're going to make something that boosts that team and makes them better so that more people want to build that team and place them on defense to get a higher score in Crucible. So I would expect something along those lines if the team goes to Crucible defense. If that team doesn't go to Crucible defense, then I guess we're looking more at the road to Apocalypse and stuff that's coming out along those lines. And again, I think we're back to mutants, maybe villain mutants, something like that.
If your theories are correct, I'm feeling a lot of love for these shield minions. If they get the next tag for Crucible, they're going to be great. And then if you build them up for that Death Scourge, that's giving them extra value. So I'm feeling that love. I'm feeling that love for Shield from you.
If they do, because I'm talking about Captain America and actually having a physical shield, but if they do shield minions and boost them or something,
I just thought Shield. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, I was the actual shield. But no, if that's another thing with the minion tag out there, that might be the next Crucible thing, is that they have 1 or even 2 rooms that have a huge boost to minions.
That would make it not feel as bad. That would make it not feel as bad for the Death Scourge.
Right? That's not terrible, but at the same time, again, they want us to build minions, and nobody wants to swallow that one.
I mean, we may
anyway you slice it, that's terrible, but we'll see.
It's not good. It's not good. They're filler characters because there weren't enough characters in day one, so they got all these filler characters. They've never added a minion since because that's how bad they were. They took them out of the Elite Fours, Elite Fives. Come on, Scopely. You even admitted how bad they are when you did that.
They could give us so many good minion characters. What if they brought, somebody mentioned Ultron bots coming to the game as minions and then a rework to Ultron. You know, the Sentinels sound fantastic to me. You could
the mercenary bodyguards from Kingpin. Those are minions.
There you go. Yes. It's his time to shine.
Yes. We'll see what happens. There's so many ways that they can make this less painful, but I guess we'll have to wait till the update drops. We'll see what's in the notes. All right, and a preview of what you may be seeing next week is in the DATAMINES Festival of Frost. Now, this looks like the next month-long milestone event. Throughout the month of December, there's about 10 separate month-long milestone events. And if you want to see a great infographic on these DATAMINES, Benny Westside does some really good infographics on Instagram, so check him out. We're actually using the original Discord post here just because it's easier to highlight. Now, the big change here, we're getting these snowballs, coal eyes, all this cool stuff. The big thing is there's event store and rewards, which indicates there's no month-long character next month, which is a good thing. There's gonna be presents in the store, top-tiered character shards, Elite 7 credits, dark promo credits, and it looks like the store is gonna rotate after every week. This seems like a lot less painful than these month-long releases for these characters. If this is the new trend with these month-long events going forward, which still gives us some carrot to chase at the end of the month, but not be totally screwed on these new characters if we miss one of these events or our alliance isn't participating in coordinated assault. Is this a lot better in your opinion than what we've had previously? Or are you going to wait to see what happens?
I definitely need to wait to see. I'm kind of curious. Each week will feature a new set of characters at the top. I don't know if, does that make it feel stale doing every week, or, you know, maybe doing these for 3 days at a time would be a little bit better to mix it up. I'm just curious, like, what happens if there's nothing at the top of that list for the whole week and you're just like, okay, I'm staring at the same characters and waiting for it to turn over? I'm not sure. I got to see how this plays out. It feels a little new and I'm unfamiliar with this kind of setup.
The good thing, we're not just getting that. We're getting Elite 7 credits, dark promo credits, and I'm assuming there's going to be gear. Yeah, there's
what good is Elite 7 credits though, Valley? Because we can't get characters unlocked past 4, sometimes maybe 5 stars without spending buckets of money. If you're already spending buckets of money, you can buy your Elite 7s.
All we need is dark promo credits, because all the good characters nowadays take dark promo credits. They're not even into orbs anymore. So good point on that. But I guess there's other things you could buy. I'm just glad that this is not associated with the character release. And I hope this is like this going forward, because I know there's a lot of complaints about people, oh, I'm chasing for this character. That's a bad release method, especially if you have to take a break during the holidays and, you know, can't do all these events and are missing something. It doesn't feel as bad if you're missing some character shards that you may or may not need, some of these other things that you could get at other sources of the game. So I would be happy if this is how it is going forward.
I mean, I want to know what their definition of top tier character shards is.
Madeline
That's
Pryor.
A wide open. That's left way open to interpretation there. And we know that Scopely's going to be like, yeah, Moon Knight's still top tier, totally.
Oh my goodness. I hope they're not that disconnected from the community that they do something like that. I hope it's something that's actually valuable, the community can get excited about, and solve this lack of farmability for a lot of these new characters. They could kill a lot of birds with this, don't it?
They need to open up first week with Icarus at the top of that store.
Icarus, Agatha, Gambit, put all of them, all the rare characters in there, all just like, hey, happy holidays, guys.
I'll settle for just one character that I really need each week, so that I can just keep farming that character with my presents or whatever thing we're spending, whatever currency we're spending on it. Oh my god, another currency too.
It's presents. There's so many different currencies every week. We got like 3 new currencies. All right, next DATAMINE It is about the Abominable Beast. People are wondering how he's going to be released. I misread the data mines. I thought he was the next month-long character. It looks like this is an event. Yeah, I misread it. I misread the store thing. So it looks like this is a separate event in this big event, the Festival of Frost here. We're getting this Abominable Beast event, and it looks like earning mad scientist orbs, battling in Blitz, so more blitzing. We've got a few weeks off of Blitz, so that's a good thing. Ghastly experiments, cold-hearted milestones, so lots of blitzing. And
so the Abominable Beast milestone has two parts of Olaf there, is Snowballs and Coal Eyes.
Yeah,
that's kind of unusual. Don't they normally put one part in each of the separate little milestone things?
I think Snowballs is the currency that they've had.
Oh, it's the currency. Oh, yeah, okay. I didn't remember which part of the snowman we're doing other than Cap's beanie, which is
so collect Snowballs. Snowballs is the currency.
Okay.
Coal Eyes,
never. It's still one item. Then
Cap's beanies is the big thing there. Yeah.
Okay.
Get the Coal Eyes, Teal Mini Uniques, gold promo credits, free to play players. Your guess. 4-star beast or less from this event?
4-star. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 4-star and like 20 extra shards or something weird that their metric says people will spend on an offer to get them to 5 stars.
All right.
Something weird, but I think 4 stars for free to play players.
That'll be good. That'll be good. And it looks like it's very, very complicated. You got the blitz, spending energy, spending a lot of stuff. So I guess I'm assuming we're going to see information about this in tomorrow's blog post. Any other thoughts on this event?
No, other than I'm kind of getting a little frustrated with how convoluted these layers and layers of events are. I'm supposed to be one of the people who knows what's going on in this game. I constantly find myself asking chat. I'm like, okay, guys, what am I saving today? What am I spending? What am I going for? Because I can't remember. I can't keep up with all these different things we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And collecting in different places, whether it be in the store or the web store. It's just nuts.
It's very confusing. Even the people that are supposed to be staying on top of this gets confused. I'm getting confused about a lot of this because it changes all the time what we're supposed to be doing. So
I don't know. I guess it's better than a Blitz release, but at the same time, at least I knew how to do the Blitz release.
Let's hold off. Let's wait and see how much blitzing we actually have to do for this event before we say that. It may be 7 days of 8 rotations, and that's worse than a Blitz release.
And then once we know, then they're probably going to change it or roll it back. Remember we were trying to do 7 rotations a day, and then they dialed it back to 4 or something.
It's all something to change, whatever it says in the blog post. So we won't know until the event actually goes live. That's a good point on that. All right, Ron. So lots of things happening. Lots of things happened over the past week. Any final thoughts, my brother?
No, I think just try and stay positive with the game. There's a lot of negativity going on out there, but I'm also seeing a lot of new players coming to the game. I'm seeing new streamers on Twitch. I'm seeing a lot of activity. People are actually still excited about this game. And we got to remember that Scopely does things that maybe we don't like on the surface, but actually creates innovative challenges for us to overcome, like the minions, right? We don't like that, but it's causing a lot of discussion. People are debating. There's things to talk about, and it's a challenge for us. And that's what we do as a community. We come together and try and figure out how to overcome the horrible ideas that Scopely throws at us.
I like that. That's a great way of thinking, and I try to do that on this channel. If you want more of that content, make sure you go over to Run's channel on YouTube. Make sure you check out his stream on Twitch. The links are going to be down below, guys. And if you haven't already on this channel, hit that subscribe button for more great Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Snap, Marvel gaming content. At least 5 Marvel gaming videos per week on this channel. And if you're listening to this weekly news update on a podcast, on whatever platform you're listening to, give it a 5-star review. It helps the channel, helps everything out. Thank you guys, Run. It has been a pleasure. Hopefully you have a great rest of the holidays. Hopefully I'll see you on before that. And that is it. Are you ready for that fist bump, my friend?
I am. Let's do it.
All right. Hulk fist bump, ValleyFlyin with the surgically repaired hand, and Run 7 out. Have a great one, guys.